Hello everyone, my name is David Willis, and today I'm coming at you with a Kerbal Space Program 2 recreation, the Saturn V rocket. The Saturn V rocket was NASA's legendary Apollo moon vehicle that they used to land astronauts on the moon 6 times. And today we will be launching it to the Mun in KSP-2. And there we have it, liftoff of the Saturn V rocket. The first thing you may notice is that we're using 5 mainsail engines. This is because the Mastodon engine in KSP-1 was from Making History, and that DLC, some parts were included, like the 5-meter tanks, but some parts, like the engines and the Mastodon, were not included, so we've had to substitute the Mastodon for the mainsail. And that's okay, it works just as fine. The next thing that you may notice is that it's a bit sped up. It's about 3 times sped up because it was about 1 second in game time was 3 seconds my time. So I've just matched the time so it's 1 second per second. The next thing we're doing right now is we're just coasting all the way up to 5 kilometers. And once we get to 5 kilometers, we'll do our pitch over maneuver and start heading to space. And orbit, I guess. Here we go, 5,000 meters, pitching over. And now we are at our desired pitch. And the next thing is a bit of a problem that's occurred with me. I struggle a bit with this portion because the Saturn V wanted to kind of oscillate left and right, but it's not really an issue. It's only really a problem for the rest of the first stage burn, and I'm sure more struts could fix that easily. Next event coming up should be stage separation and J2 ignition. Yeah, you can really see the nav ball going hard over there. Alright, J2 ignition, and we should have interstage separation coming up soon. Bit of a glitch here that it didn't separate when it was supposed to, but it's okay. Just a quick toggle of the engine will get rid of that. Next event coming up should be LAS jettison. There it goes. Another thing you may notice is that for the J2 engines, we aren't using the Skiff engine. That's because the Skiff was also from Making History, and as such is not present in this game. So, to replace the Skiff, we are using the Skipper engines, which work just as fine. It's a bit higher thrust, but hey, that helps out when we're trying to get to orbit. Only 1,000 meters to go, and then we will run out of fuel on the second stage. Look at the Mun right there, right in front of us. How nice of it. And just as with the real Saturn V, the S2 stage is going to shut off just before we hit orbit, leaving the S4B to complete the burn and insert itself into orbit. Coming up on stage separation now. Had a bit of an issue here. As you can see, the stage separation almost flipped us out of control, but nothing that we can't fix. And there goes S4B ignition. For the S4B J2, you'll notice we're actually using the Rhino engine as opposed to the Skipper engine. It's because the Rhino is also a J2 analog, it's just a J2X analog. There we have Jeb, Bob, and Bill, all nice and cozy in their command pod, ready to go to the Mun. Jeb cracking his fingers, Bob and Bill dancing. And now we're just going to coast all the way up to Apoapsis. Next thing coming up is going to be the orbital insertion burn, and there we go, igniting the J2 engine on the third stage to insert ourselves into orbit around Kerbin. And there we go, inserted. That's actually a pretty circular orbit. Not as circular as I would have liked, but still pretty good. And there we have it. Now we are in orbit. Next thing to do is just plan our trip to the Mun, and then light up the engine again for that trans-lunar injection burn. And with the Mun in our sights, we are 15 seconds away from igniting our trans-lunar injection burn. And that's our TLI burn complete. Although, as you'll see, I think some glitch happened with the timing system, because I stopped burning when it hit 0, and yet we're still way far past the Mun. But that's okay. The third stage of my Saturn V is wildly overpowered for something like this. So it's still got 865 meters per second of delta V. All we got to do is flip the ship around and fire the engines in reverse, and that'll bring our orbit back down to the Mun. And then all we have to do from there is just fine-tune the orbit. And as you can see now, we are currently in the outbound coast phase of our lunar mission. Yeah, look how pretty everything looks. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. In fact, about right around now, I'm going to start looking for a thumbnail to take a picture of. So, but yeah, this is the end of the Saturn V's portion of the lunar mission. And this is about as far as I have gotten in the mission in real life. So I'm going to stop editing this video now, go land on the Mun, and then put that footage into this video, and so the next time you hear me, I will have finished the mission. It is currently not finished now. As you can see, I'm taking a thumbnail picture right there because that's just beautiful. But yeah, I will see you guys as soon as I have landed on the Mun and come safely back to Earth. I mean, Kerbin. Whoops. And I'm back! Now we can do the process of transposition and docking. There goes the payload fairings. I messed up. There should have been 4, but there were only 2. But that's okay. Nothing big. One thing I do want to point out is you'll notice there's a tiny decoupler in between the docking port and the engines. And this is because for some reason docking ports don't decouple things anymore like they did in KSP1. So just real quickly, we're going to have to back up the command service module and just push that little docking adapter out of the way. Now with the docking adapter out of the way, we're just going to stabilize our position, push forward a tiny bit just to give us room to maneuver, and then we're going to flip around and dock to the LM. And there we go. We are now docked to the LM. The next thing we are going to do is just do a little bit of reorganizing the staging, I believe. Just to make sure everything's in the right position. But after that, we should be good for the undocking of the LEM. From the, or I guess it'd be separation of the LEM from the S4B. And there we go. And, another thing I want to point out, just with the mainsail, the skipper, and the Rhino, the SPS engine is not the Wolfhound engine, because the Wolfhound was with Making History DLC, and so we've had to replace it. And I think we replaced it with the Poodle engine. I'm not entirely sure what that engine is called, unless it's the Poodle. In fact, let me do a quick Google search, and I'll confirm that for you. Yes, it was indeed the Poodle engine. Alright, so I've skipped forward just a teeny bit because I want to point out a very serious glitch that has just occurred. I don't know if I'm going to zoom out again yet, but if you look, you can actually see our orbit does not exist anymore. Our orbit line is completely gone for some reason. This is a rather serious glitch, but for me, I was able to actually complete the mission in spite of this glitch. KSP developers, though, if you see this video, this is the most serious glitch in the entire video, and I really think you guys should fix it, because it was difficult as is doing the MUN without an orbit line. Alright, so we are now within the MUN's sphere of influence, and despite the fact that we have no orbit line, we can still do a maneuver. I'm just going to point radial out until our periapsis gets all the way up to, I think it's 20,000 I chose this time. Alright, there we go. Periapsis is now at 20,000, and basically what I'm going to do, you'll see in the next couple of seconds. This is actually really funny because for the longest time I had no idea what happened to the MUN just there. I thought it was a glitch because you can see the sun right over there. But no, this is actually a Kerbolar eclipse. The Mooner eclipse, however you want to call it. The MUN has gone behind Kerbin, but the sun is still peeking out behind the edge. So I just thought that was pretty interesting and wanted to point that out. Alright, and now we are just mere seconds away from performing our Mooner insertion burn. There we go, igniting the Poodle engine. And basically, we're just waiting until our apoapsis gets down to 20,000 meters, and that'll make us circularized. And there we have it. We are now inserted into orbit around the MUN. I am going to now speed up time just until we get to the part where we actually perform the landing, because for the next orbit, several orbits, I'm just going to be doing orbit corrections, because KSP2 has a problem where if you are in time warp and then exit time warp, sometimes your orbit will decay really fast. And so I had to do a bunch of corrections for that before I could actually do the landing, and you guys don't want to see that, so I'm going to cut all that down. Alright, here we're doing one final orbit correction burn with the SPS engines, and then I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to transfer Jeb and Bob, I think it's Bob, yeah, Jeb and Bob into the LEM, and then we're going to undock the spacecraft. There we are, undocked. Now, you may notice that our apoapsis and periapsis changed a bit, but on the command module, it shot us down to 5 kilometers above the surface. So I'm going to have to switch back. I switched back to the command module, and I'm going to have to reignite the engines real quick just to raise our orbit to something, you know, useful, like 19. But that's another glitch I think they definitely need to fix, is decoupling like that. But other than that, I think we're ready to start the deorbit burn. And there we go, we've activated the engine, and now we've ignited the engine. This is just a short little burn just to get us on an intercept with the surface. We will, of course, be doing more burns down the line as we descend to the surface of the Mun. And yes, that is a Monarch, and no, I did not plan that. That was very lucky, very, very lucky that was able to happen. Unfortunately, though, I was unable to visit it, and you will see why in just a few seconds. Right now, we are going to land on the surface of the Mun. And there we have it, successfully landed on the surface of the Mun. That's all there is to say about that. And now we are going to get our Kerbals out on EVA. First, we will be getting Jeb out and having him walk right in front of the LM. If he'll get off of... Yeah, I don't know why that was happening, but the struts... I liked in KSP1 when the struts completely disappeared when you separated the stage. The fact that they stick around on the craft is a bit unsavory in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. How cool is that? Landed on the surface of the Mun. Now time to get Bob out. Gonna try to position him right next to Jebediah. Just trying to get a good screenshot with that Monarch, and that was lucky. That really was pretty lucky with the Monarch. With the flag planting completed, I decided I was going to go visit the Monarch when I came upon a bit of a problem that I didn't realize was going to be a problem until it was a bit too late. But notice something. I've got RCS on, but I'm holding down shift, but nothing's happening. At least I was when I recorded this. I thought it was initially just a glitch with the Kerbal. And I didn't realize it was even a glitch until it didn't work with Bob either. But the RCS in general just completely stopped working right about now. So when I go to rendezvous and dock the LEM upper stage with the command service module, that is going to be a bit of a problem. Without RCS, that means I would have to walk the entire way to the Monarch. And as you can see, I was 400 meters away from where I was and still no closer to the Monarch. So I decided I was just not going to go to the Monarch, because if I can't use RCS, I am not wasting that much of my time trying to get there. So you see, I'm even trying to fix the RCS there manually. Nothing's happening. So I just decided, oh well, no Monarch for me today. So sorry, but that's just how it works, unfortunately. That's how the cookie crumbles. And here we are back at the LEM when I have come across another problem. I don't have RCS, nor do I have a ladder. So as you can see, the combination of both of those things is going to make getting onto the LEM a bit difficult. And as you can see here, I've switched to Bob, and the RCS still does not work, which is where I realized, oh crap, this is a problem. And but I eventually got him in the ship, and now I just have to wait a few orbits for launch. And here we go, liftoff of the LEM ascent stage. We are going to be rendezvousing and docking with the command service module flying overhead, or roughly overhead, I guess. Yeah. And there's the shutdown of the LEM ascent stage engine, and so now I'm just gonna speed up time until we've rendezvoused and docked. You may have noticed there that right before we docked, the RCS was working, but it was working to stabilize us. We couldn't use it for rendezvousing and docking. So unfortunately, the RCS was only kind of working there. But we managed to dock, as you can see there. Kerbals have been transferred back into their command module, and we have now separated the LEM ascent stage, and now we can come home. Just a few seconds away from the transcurbit injection burn, and there we go. And transcurbit injection burn has been complete. We burned a little bit too much, but nothing we can't fix. And now we are leaving the MUN and beginning our inbound coast phase. I'm just going to speed all of this up because it doesn't really need to be slowed down by anything. We're about to enter the atmosphere, flip around, service module separation. And unfortunately, KSP2 does not have re-entry effects right now, so there were none of those. Parachutes have been deployed, and boom, landed on the surface. And there it is, a full Apollo-style Apollo mission in KSP2. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I did. And I hope you guys, if you guys liked this video, I definitely think you should subscribe to the channel. I do mostly educational videos, informational videos about SLS, but occasionally I'll stop and do a Kerbal Space Program video like this. So if you like this kind of stuff, let me know in the comments below. What recreations would you like to see in the future? Just put those in the comments below and perhaps I'll make them. I've already got so many recreations in KSP2. I've got SLS, Ares 5, Block 1B SLS, Saturn 1B, Space Shuttle, although that one doesn't really work too well. But I've got tons of stuff and tons of ideas for KSP2. So just let me know if you want to see more of that stuff. And, well, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.